All right, another video here. It's been a while. I'm going to start with a quote. This is from the Parable of the Sower. The quote, "Prodigy is, at its essence, adaptability and persistent positive obsession. Without persistence, what remains is enthusiasm of the moment. Without adaptability, what remains may be channeled into destructive fanaticism. Without positive obsession, there is nothing at all." Or Lauren Oya Oliminia. That's Lauren Olamina. Pronounced that wrong there. Okay, guys, I'm going to take you through a lab walkthrough. I got I'm starting I could call it a wall of heroes or a wall of great people. Victor Schauberger, C.P. Steinmetz, Michael Faraday, father of electrical engineering, father of electricity, and the father of bioelectricity. Everything is governed by one law. A human being is a microcosm, i.e. the laws prevailing in the cosmos also operate in the minutest spaces of the human being. I often wondered, what if these two men work together? All three of these men. This is kind of an impossible task here. Here's where I am so far. I can produce these forms in solid copper repeatedly and reliably. I'm getting better at producing the meandering membranes. Now the question is, can I electroplate these in a balanced and machinable fashion and produce unions that join the pipes to the membranes? So these are the elements of the suction turbine: whirl pipe, union, and meandering membrane discs. Okay, here's my new lab. This tank is made of 3/4 inch high density polyethylene. Everything has been welded together, custom welded. Everything is built inside this room. So you got 3/4 inch high density polyethylene on the base, 4 walls, everything is welded together. Some 3/4 inch buttresses for added strength. What remains to be welded on the outside are 2 rows of ribs to further strengthen the outside of the tank. 120 volt immersion heater with a custom high density polyethylene shield. So the idea here is your anode can't hit the actual metal 316 stainless heater. The heater is attached to a 2-inch 316 stainless bulkhead fitting. Here's the control box for the heater, and these elements have not been wired up yet. The tank has a nice lid, easy to open and close. Seals up very nicely, makes for a clean operation. Nice cover for the pump. The pump is a Flow King BX 1200 series with custom high density polyethylene plastic exhaust and ducting that directly exhausts the pump to my new exhaust manifold and exhaust system. So over here, I've got an 8-inch blower fan hooked up to a 4-port exhaust manifold. The exhaust manifold accommodates a HEPA filter and allows me to exhaust the space as well as certain components like the pump and the regenerative blower. Inside the tank, you got regenerative blower, 1.25 inch CPVC, reducing down to 1 inch CPVC at the base. Everything is designed to be easily serviced. So in order for me to remove, if the tank is in operation and I want to remove and inspect the regenerative blower system, all I need to do is disconnect this coupler right here, unthread the bulkhead, and I can remove the whole assembly. Looking at the underside of the bubbler assembly, just a quick explanation of how to do this. You want to draw a line, so you want 3 lines. These 2 lines are spaced 30 degrees from the center line, so that these 2 lines are 60 degrees apart. And then you want to mark holes every 2 inches on each line. And you're going to stagger a 3/32 inch hole every 2 inches. The regenerative blower is a little bit hard to get to now because I built a cover for it. This makes for easy cleaning. I don't want certain components to be exposed to this harsh environment. But the regenerative blower is, so it has a direct exhaust and direct air intake to keep it nice and cool, because this component will get quite warm. It also has a filter for intake. The intake fans are 4-inch, 2 4-inch intake fans into the space with, I forgot what you call these things, with blast gates. 4-inch PVC ducted to the outside of the house where there is a HEPA filter on the outside within a housing, which I will get to in a few minutes. Inside the tank, a few features I will point out. The anode bars are 1-inch titanium. The cathode bus bars are 3/4 inch titanium. The anode bars can be, the proximity of the anode to the cathode can be adjusted by way of these plates here on either side. What you do is pop these plates up and flip them like so, and then you can adjust your proximity of anode to cathode. So that's just a little feature in there to give a little bit more flexibility during operation. The cathode bus bars, there are 3 at current. They join together with this piece of high density polyethylene and a set screw. However, the 2 outer ones can be removed. So this is cathode bus bar agitation. Under this box, there is a linear actuator, which I will show you in a moment. So what you do is you turn this linear actuator on, and now you have agitation of your cathode bus bar. So a little detail here, the cathode bus bar here, this is steel, this is titanium. When a current is applied to this, you don't want the linear actuator to be energized. So what I've done here, it's hard to see, but there are 3 layers of heat shrink buffering the cathode bus bar from the linear actuator shaft. Under the cover of the linear actuator, again designed to keep these components clean and protected from the corrosive environment. This is a very basic linear actuator. More likely than not, I'm going to have to upgrade this. The motor is a little small, but just to show this in operation with the cover off. Very nice, smooth operation of the cathode bus bars there. The main reason for this is to agitate your cathode back and forth within the bath to dislodge any air bubbles. The whole goal of this setup is to create an oceanic environment. So with the regenerative blower aeration, the filter pump, what you get is a great deal of solution agitation and aeration. The tank also has a 3/4 inch drain in the base. And I now have a setup over here, which I will quickly touch upon. So I can drain the tank into my chemical filtering tank here, which consists of a chemical resistant filter pump and a filter. This has been plastic welded to a drum. And the purpose of this will be for mixing chemicals and transferring them into the larger tank. So this tank also has a nice large sink here. So when I'm not mixing chemicals, I can use this as a clean tank, as a cleaning station. And then I can transfer those chemicals to my big Berkey here. So this consists of two 30-gallon drums. The upper drum has 4 carbon filters installed. A simple means of connecting hose. So very quick and simple means of connecting hoses using these couplings here to the output and the input. And what this allows me to do is to gravity filter drag out water and electroforming solutions. So there's the big Berkey, the new chemical transfer tank and cleaning station, and a nice drain so that I can easily drain this tank if I ever want to move this whole operation. A little side note here, with regards to the oceanic environment, I really had my mindset on installing magnetic stirring within the tank. And I may do this in the future. Oh shit, look at that guy. That's a big centipede right there. So what I did is I set the whole tank on legs, a little bigger than 6 inch there. And then I jury-rigged a grinder to a very powerful diametrically magnetized magnet. And the way I did this here, you have a 1/4 inch threaded bolt or threaded stud, which threads into the grinder and then affixes with a nut. And this allows for a very low profile means of spinning a magnet. What you would do is hook this up to a voltage regulator, and then you can position this under the tank, fix it into place, find a means of fixing it into place, and then within the tank, you would drop a pill, and you can add another element of solution agitation and aeration. Now I'm just going to show you how the regenerative blower setup works. So I have fresh air, HEPA filtered air intakes direct into the regenerative blower housing, and then exhaust from the filter pump and the regenerative blower directly into this exhaust manifold. And this blower fan here and this regenerative blower connect to this very nice timer, 7-day timer, which allows me to schedule run times for these two components. Mainly because of the noise, 1, the noise level, and 2, the amount of heat that is generated by these. So the idea here is to come up with a schedule of turning the exhaust fans and the regenerative blower on and off so that I can keep the temperatures within a reasonable limit there. So I'll turn these on right now. There's the exhaust fan. And there's the regenerative blower. So I'm just about ready to water test this setup. Regenerative blower has a valve just to throttle have a little bit more control over the air in. And this is all 1¼ inch CPVC, and then there is one piece of galvanized pipe here. I may need to lengthen this amount of galvanized pipe depending on how hot this component gets here. But there you can hear just with the two motors, it gets quite loud in here. Okay, so now I'm gonna go outside and explain to you the setup outside. But before I do that, there is a heat recovery system. So here's a 6-inch fan, which is recovering some of the heat that's exhausted out of the space through a HEPA filter and back into the space. All right, now we're outside. Here's the heat recovery system. So consists of movable louvers, which partly exhaust the air from the space, and a 6-inch flexible duct. There, I'm not going to take this apart right now, but there's a HEPA filter that fits in here. So the air that is exhausted out of the space is HEPA filtered and drawn back in through this 6-inch inline fan. A couple things I'm going to do here just to finish some caulking work here, and that's pretty much it. It's quite quiet. This serves another function of almost silencing the exhaust fan, which is good because I'm in a residential neighborhood here. Finally, the air intake housings connected. So they go through the rim joist of the house, 4-inch PVC. You got some air intakes here, 4 of them. And then inside, a simple HEPA filter from a vacuum. Inside the HEPA filter, if I can pull this off right now, it's a little bit difficult. There's a 4-inch piece of PVC pipe that has been perforated. And then this has just been capped with a piece of plastic and silicone. So that allows basically for controlled fresh air into the space and controlled air out of the space. And there are 2 of these housings here on the outside of the house. And I'll just finish the video off, take you guys on a walk through my garden here. Things are looking really nice right now. Hydrangeas are doing great. Lots of grapes this year. There can be tons and tons of grapes. Every single grape has been pollinated by a bumblebee or a honeybee. Every single mustard seed, bumblebee or honeybee pollination. Some borage. Queen Anne's lace. Tiger lilies. Huge hostas. Kind of brilliant when you think about the hosta, that this is very much like a water funnel to the root system. The high bush berries are all finished for the season. Maybe I'll find a couple. There's a couple right there. The robins absolutely love these berries. Tons of mustard. Planted an apple tree this year. Raspberries, blackberries, and gooseberries. And look at the size of the raspberries this year. They're almost as tall as in the back. You see there's a cherry tree. The cherry tree is really competing. And actually I see a cherry on the cherry tree back here. So, excuse me, raspberries. I'm just gonna pick my first cherry from the cherry tree here. Thank you. Really good. Tons of raspberries. I've never seen this many raspberries. And I don't stake these or anything here. I let them grow wild. Lots and lots of currents as well this year. Look at the beautiful currents. I highly recommend, if you have a backyard, plant berries and fruit trees. The bees absolutely love berries and fruit trees. The cardinals and the robins love the high bush berries. The cardinals really like the mustard seeds. Beautiful tiger lilies there. All right, guys, that's about it for now. I'm gonna water test the tank. I may make a video on the water testing of the tank, but just give you an update on where I am right now. Still working away. I'm still obsessively optimistic about the possibilities of this electroforming bioecotechnology, and I'm working hard. Actually, the next step here, I'll just show you. Next step is to do some nitrogen welding. So most of the plastic welding I did in that tank was with pure compressed air. So what I'm gonna do is double back over the interior tank welds with some nitrogen welds, just to add another layer of confidence there. So actually what I'll do is to end the video off, I'll go inside and show you what's called the nitrogen saver unit. So the plan here is to go back inside this tank with the nitrogen and re-weld all these interior welds. All 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 welds on the inside, just to be 100% certain that this will hold together and the welds won't react to the chemistry. Okay, and just to end the video off, one of the last investments I made here, I spent a small fortune on this project, as you can imagine, but I think it is worthwhile. So this nitrogen saver unit from Laramie. The way this works here, I wonder if I can do this without taking it out. So you put your torch, your welding torch, on this cradle here, and when this cradle is activated, your welding torch is only blowing compressed air. On this side, you have a compressed air and a nitrogen hookup. So I will do a whole video on this once I get it going. There's air and nitrogen, and then you have your nitrogen out over there. So your torch is blowing compressed air when it's not in operation. And the whole idea here is to save your nitrogen. Once you take it off the cradle and start welding, you're welding with the inert gas nitrogen. So that's that. This is my compressed air setup, compressed air welding setup. And that's about it, guys. Guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Schaubergians. There's lots of work to do here. Lots of reading and research to do. And I'm gonna end the video there, okay? Thanks for watching. This is one of my lab assistants here. I've got a couple lab assistants. I got some ladies too. Where's the ladies? There's one of them. Keeping the lab nice and clean. Here's another little cellar spider. All right. Here's the moment of truth, really. How good are my welds? I guess I'm gonna find out. Start filling this up. It's probably gonna take a couple hours to fill.